Yes, thank you, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to introduce and make a presentation about how to improve self-image in a current advanced country like developed country. Um, especially for I want to focus on East Asia, who have the collectivism and the group thinks. Or group-oriented countries like Japan or like Korea or Taiwan or some part of China. This like collectivism is only unique to like a East Asia country. Actually, I don't think that this is only countries from the collectivism. I think much of that's the values and they like really group oriented countries. Of course, other countries like also have other like world countries also have like collectivism ideas, but mainly this East these East Asia countries is really famous for like collectivism in itself, and from traditionally, and still they have like sometimes the advantages of the collectivism, but they also some have disadvantages of that. That's why we focus on the advanced countries and self-image improvements can be definitely lead to the like individual happiness in today's world or like the upcoming world into a 10 or 20 years. And I think it's really important to focus on these improvements or like increasing or self-image in the first place. And I have three things to talk about. First is to improve to nurture. How can I say other word? In other words, I'm just like searching for it's like raising or nurture or caring the self-image and to have a good self-image, a good condition inside of your mind or like mindset. And firstly, which is really first is it's really important to focusing on your abilities. What you wanna yeah, but before moving on my main content, I have to briefly finish my bullet points. And the first is focusing on your ability. A second is let's stop comparison to others because it is like endlessly you have like the targets who made a comparison with you. And thirdly, I want to find your own I want to suggest you that if you find your own values, it's your values can help you in the later of your life, of course, and then um, find your own values later in the latest hours of this will help you, and by taking these customs or certain kinds of established values, your action is never be depend on the contingent on other people's actions or evaluation in the first place. That's why I would suggest you that three kinds of things and move on one by one. So move on and explain one by one. Yes, basically, the and first of all, I want to give you the focus on your ability is really focusing on your ability is really important things to improve your health image because and of course for certain people for overly single persons is not completed. Well, it's like there is no any like complete persons or complete, how can I say, genius or talented, gifted, or like perfect, finished, a really clever or intelligent person, intelligent or super multiple skilled person. We don't have such these kind of person. Even though the people who are called like genius and the perfect person like Edison's or like Einstein's or Jobs, in some part they have performed in strong like performance or like varied performance in their own world, but focusing other people, focusing other aspects like our the fashionable skills, like social outgoing skills, or like of course including the sports skills. Considering the different resources of the time, they don't have they can't spend their times on the, like these other aspects, and of course, it is sure that they don't are good at. that kind of art aspect without their specializations. That's why I want to say that you can limitlessly or infinitely find your own like improvement, your shortcomings or lacked points or negative point inside your mind. So that's why it is totally meaningless because you can find infinitely. There's no limitations. Um, so if once you started on like focus on your inabilities or like your meaninglessness or like incapabilities inside of your mind, it's surely start it is sure that you're starting to think about yourselves as like a negative words and uncomfortable and you're really silly and stupid and like ugly uh, intelligence people. You're it is sure that you're studying think yourself as such a characteristic at the end of the day. So that's why we the positive points is infinite and also and at the same time the negative points is really infinite. So that's why we want to focus on the positive words like abilities or capabilities or things that you came to do, you learn to do in the process of your experiences. So experiences. That's why I want to focus on like a lot of things to do to focus on that's gonna be your abilities. So even if you were like playing the sports, like making a training, like practice it and every day, maybe of course you can find some like improvements or like some failure during your plays or games or practices or like a partial training. But if you improve in the self-image in a whole life cycle of your aesthetic work, I definitely recommend you to focus on your abilities and by step you can find some like capabilities or like the things like you can came to learn during the practices. Some yeah actually like for example like I was doing played the variables in high school days. So like sometimes I can make it a spike, like sometimes I can beat it or attacking, I can make sleeping, jumped into the drop point or a ball and perfectly I sometimes perfectly receive it and it's contributed our victory of our teams. So it is very important to focus on that abilities. Of course, you can find one or two abilities during your holidays because it is too long. You can do a lot of things during the 24 hours, but it is really I think it's really short to do something or to achieve something during your whole of our lives because it includes a lot of risks. Sometimes you have to protect someone who are following you. So focusing your ability is very important because you're starting like a positive one. You feel that you're growing day by day. You feel that you have made an improvement. You have positive point, and you can fix or repair your bad point or negative points or your shortcomings from yesterday or like a previous moment. It's very important, and your thinking style is focusing on the positive ways. It is really important too. It is the basement of increasing the self-image in the first place. And secondly, I move on. I stop comparison to others. Oh, some people making sounds from behind me, but I don't care about that. I stop comparison to others. Actually, how can I say? Oh, how can I say? Self comparison to others. It's sorry, I'm already a bit scared about that such hearings because I imagine that's the someone cracking the walls, like a pick rings and digging that's war, and so they try to make. make them roads inside our home. Actually, I see some movies or like documentary movies who those who are imprisoned and who are making a strong effort to fight for long times to get out from the prisons, even though they are convinced that like death penalties or so. So it's I believe that some people have a strong consistency and a perseverance to achieve some goals. I wish that they were not such a person or like such an actions or so. And secondly, I have to make a comparison to others. I have to talk about that. Of course, if you make certain comparisons, you should it is sure that you find some difference between you and other people's. And of course, some people say that it is really common. Like some people say that it in the SNS world, you have a much chance to search to bump into someone's postings to report the a great achievement of themselves, and sometimes some people mounting themselves to others than others by giving like the story like a high area phrases or like a complicated phrases, or like they sometimes use that um yes high area like complicated words in the postings. So on that case, like you feel like inferiority, or you can turn on like inferior minded because of like suddenly appearing uh superior minded. So you were firstly push that kind of button and turn it into like the comparison stages. And you want to mounting yourselves to others, like you can do some other factors like the variables you can do, like you really good like intelligence skills, and you're proud of like sometimes they go to the national universities or like prestigious universities, even though they don't have any achievements. You have like complexity about other people's like uh great efforts or achievements. All I guess is I believe that mm, even if you can beat other people, you can be more like, even though you become better or beat other people, just you compare the others. But I think if you beat one people, of course there are some people who better you, because the world is really wide and big and large, and you can easily find the people who are only based on their careers and talents, and those who only made a strong effort and practices a lot, and during like the childhood, or during like university or like a high school wars, and sometimes stop after beating some people in front of yourselves, you can easily find some other people who exceeds you. So every moment, if you find like such an exceeded people, you uh, you have to feel the same feelings as you have to others. Sometimes you are really fearful or scary about other people because of like a possibility that they criticize you as the same way as you do to other people. It is definitely lead to like bad effect for you, and you yeah, I've never mentioned about that more anymore because it is a limitation of we have the limitation of the times. And thirdly, we want to find your own values. This is like your own values, really, really, really high grade, conceptual, steps that you have to take. And like if you want to study a lot, or like you want to start your own businesses, or like you start on like start working for like a government or like starting volunteers, you have to find your own values. You have to find your importance or like a sense of ownership to that project. That's the values you have to talk with that, because the for all the people, all the people, the world for used to be like during the 1960s or 1950s, no one knows that such a sustainable ecological development is so important, and that is only few people who knows about the importance of that in today's world. And or like the progress in AI results, uh yes, so such things like that. um yes, so this is, I think, also some people say, almost all the people say that there is no difference between the each culture or each background or like each social context. In some cases, the stressful situation and the stress or pressure from the upper students or from the subordinates is really important or really like comfortable for some people, if they feel about it. And actually, sometimes I feel like the really high grade, high conditions during the period of week, when I prepared for exams and like 1 week for the exams, was so because I feel like integrated in my mind in, because in that times I feel that all of the knowledges or informations or like wisdom, which I can get from like lectures or books, can be integrated during these times by setting the so stressful situations, and to urge us to make outputs uh, during these times. And sometimes it's like definitely stressful, but I can find some like enjoyable points and like positive point inside our school, inside of my studies, or like in the process of like searching for some finishing data. So it is really enjoyable for me. But of course, if from their mind, it is sure that it's these kind of like uh, mm, this is sure that this kind of business is not so popular, and you can't commit this so commitment so well. I'm just forgot because of the mental sleepiness, because I sleep only for 6 hours yesterday, and I at least I need 8 hours a day as a sleeping times. After this, I I was made my body to wake. It is completely irrelevant in this speech, and it's already 8 hours. I don't have to take the call anymore. And why we don't have any absolute values, and there are so many called multicultural in the world. Sometimes the stress is so good, but sometimes of course the stress is so bad. It's lead to some like, if you put too much stresses on your subordinates or the junior students or like your friends, it sometimes lead to like a buildings or some harassment or academic harassment, and they offend such people. If like you think that your remarks or like a mention is just like one improvement or like direction, but for the like the other side, like like acceptable acceptance side, they sometimes feel that it is too offensive, too criticistic, and they feel that they're so strongly offended, like hurted from the bottom of your heart. And in such situations, I think that stress is completely like bad things, really uh, harmful aspects of your side of the house. So that's why this is completely multicultural. Both each aspects inside a real world is have two ranges, and two ranches, and then of course so many people focus on that. And that's why I want to suggest you that you have to avoid such cases. Yes, that's